Welcome G. Let's start. Today I am going to talk again on JDK19 as a preview feature. So in JDK19 there are two new methods are introduced in the executor service named like new thread per task executor, and one is the new virtual thread per task executor. So let's look about these two methods, and we also I'm going to write some sample code so that you should feel how we are going to use this API. So note these two methods is still in JDK19 as a preview feature. That means might be in future, can be some modification happen, can be changed, can be removed. But the chances and the probability is very less, so any changes or any kind of removal. But still note this is the preview feature methods. So let's talk about the first. So executor service have a one new method like new thread per task executor. As a method name is it clear, new thread per task. That means कि in executor service generally what, first you create the executor service, and in this executor service you have to submit tasks, task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4, and number of tasks you can submit. So this executor say if for each task new threads will be created, for each task, means कि number of tasks you added in the executor service, same number of threads can be created. It is only possible due to JDK19 as a base virtual thread. Means now instead of creating a platform threads, JDK as a JVM create the virtual thread. That means the JDK threads. And platform threads have a limitation because each platform we can create a limited number of platform threads as per the our platform support. But in the for the virtual threads, JDK threads, you can create as many number of requests you receive. So for purpose solve the purpose for per request new threads. So this executor framework method like create a executor that start a new thread for each task, and the number of threads created by the executor is unbounded. That means there is no any kind of a limitation. Just you think how many number of requests we receive, same number of requests you can create the same number of threads. And they have a in the they return the future, and future have a cancel methods. If you execute cancel, that means all the pending tasks of the executor will be interrupted. So this is the one. And the second one like new virtual thread per task executor. So this new virtual thread per task executor, this is also create a executor that start new virtual threads for each task, the same, and the number of threads created by this executor is unbounded. There is no any limitations. You notice this method equivalent to the previous one, like a new thread per task executor. Internally, this method new virtual thread per task executor invoke the same method like a create new thread per task executor. Look like JDK designers follow the previous naming convention of the executor service. In the previous executor service like a new single cache thread pool, new single thread pool, new fixed thread pool. Similarly, they also follow the pattern like new thread per task executor. This is the new, just name mention कि new virtual thread per task, like means कि they exactly mention कि I am going to create the virtual threads only. But this executor you can pass the factory, and whatever the factory you pass, if you pass the factory of virtual threads, it's behave for the virtual threads. If you pass the factory of normal, they work for the normal. So let's look the, even you can say if you look the your JDK official Java documentation, and you notice that new thread pool per executor task is the this is the preview feature, may be removed in the future or upgraded to the permanent or something. So these are the please note, but the purpose is that this executor always start new thread per each task. So let's look the some example. Okay, so I am going to just here. So how to first how to create a execute. So for creating any executor service, we have a one class executors dot. You just say these are the existing like a new per thread executor, virtual thread executor. Let's virtual thread executor. So here you say ki I am going to create executor new virtual threads, and just take later. This is the service, and from JDK19 onward, generally recommendation you always create virtual thread as a try resource, so that ki shut down and the closing resources automatically done by your try with the resources. So let us example, we have one method like a process method. Let's take some input some ID, and whatever the product ID something, just they process some data, whatever the ID you pass, and similarly let's keep print which threads they are printing. This is method process your methods. So let this is the any kind of business logic, whatever the process method doing, but our intention is that how we can invoke this task. This is the one task that can I want to run in a multiple thread. So here say I want to create, let's give some setup int stream and create some range. I want to 1 to 10 threads. Okay, and just map to object, and here say let's give whatever the number we have ID. Say let's ExecutorService dot submit, and here you can whatever the pass, like here your process method pass your ID, and just to list. So here what I'm seeing, we are just creating one executor service, and here we are submitting 10 jobs. What is the job? Just do the processing. So in this way, if you notice, we are able for each you can say task process, new threads is created, and notice the behavior, all the by default virtual threads are created. So as my last section, I say virtual thread like a JDK develop threads, but while running, while processing, they need one platform thread. So one platform threads must required on the on which operating system your code run, but any number of virtual threads can run by one platform thread, and might be, let's we have created 3 platform threads. The one first might be for some time these threads are wait, after waiting they can jump to the another threads, means one virtual threads can executed by one platform thread or 2 platform thread, depend upon the execution. So this is, and similarly let's we have a similarly we have another method like executors dot start new thread per task executor. So here we have to pass the any kind of a factory method. So even you can say let's say pass the virtual factory itself. We find virtual factory and just pass, and again request suggestion always is the try with the resources, so that automatic task. And here same like int stream dot range, let's give 1 to 10 I want to create, or let's instead of 20 to 30 I created, and here say dot map to object, and whatever ID you are passing, let's executor.submit, and you are just invoke your whatever the process method you have. Okay, so in this way, just we are creating the new thread per task executor and just executor service. In this executor service, I have submitted a multiple job, and this create the similarly for new process, new different threads for here. So notice this is the your look like the same virtual threads they created. This your new thread per task executor, similarly virtual threads, both are creating the same virtual threads. So here they are by name mentioned, these always create the virtual thread, but here we have options, new thread pool, a new thread per task executor. Here we have options, we can might be create a different, you can say like a factory. Here let's pass some default factory. Even you can pass different factory as well as executors are default factory. So they behave means this thread per task executor is not bound to any specific factory, but this new virtual threads always internally implement the virtual thread factory. And here if you run, notice, let's change from 50 to 60 range, so that will distinguish it. And that will run, yes, and you notice that now we've passed the different, you can say factory. So now this is the normal factory pool 1. If you follow the virtual factory, it will run for the virtual factory, but this new virtual threads always created by virtual threads. So if you observe the output, you notice that 10 threads are created. Okay, virtual threads, we have created 10 virtual threads, 30 say 2, these are 10 virtual threads. But if you notice the here the platform threads 7, 4, 3 again, 4, 2, 5 and 6. So here might be same platform thread used by the different. And if you observe the output of second, here you notice from this here, and notice here only platform thread 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3 and 5 are reused multiple times, but here per threads new virtual threads are created. So per task new virtual threads are created. For running any virtual threads need a platform threads. These are the platform threads. Platform threads can be one platform threads can run any number of virtual threads. One virtual thread can be run by the different platform threads. So these are the different mapping. So please note that. And this is the major you can say changes in the, you can say threading model. Now Java 19, due to the virtual thread concept, Java always suggests we can use per request per thread model. For each task new threads, each task new thread, per request new thread, and this is only feasible due to the concept of your virtual threads. So these are the very nice things, and even the very simplest way, whatever the previously in which way we are using the executor class, similarly we in this way also we can use, but also Java follow the previous naming convention as well as here like a new thread per task model. So that's the nice you can naming convention. This naming convention exactly say new virtual threads, means always they create virtual threads, but here you have option, you can pass the virtual thread factory, or you can pass the default factory, or any factory which you want. So these are the multiple flavor, and note that these two, this new virtual thread per task executor and new thread per task executor, both are behave same if we pass the here virtual thread is a factory, here a virtual threads. if you look the code of this, if you look the code internally, they just create like a, if you look the code of this one, new virtual factory, internally they use the same method like a new thread per task, and just pass here the virtual factory. So implementation internally there is no differences, just different look. So here we have a different flavor you can pass. So these are the things, two news methods introduced in the executor service, and these are the preview feature. They are highly dependent on general recommendations. They are work if you are using the virtual thread concept. Virtual threads, the very super lightweight threads, and as number of threads you want, you can create, and each running virtual threads required some of the your platform threads, your native threads. And native threads have a limitation, but here there is no number of limitation. One virtual threads can run on this platform. Once something waiting, just come out, again can run another, again waiting, come out, again run another thread. So this is the concept of virtual threading, which are very can say nice. And as per the whatever the due to the preview feature, lots of might be as a Oracle language designers might be receive some feedback, but from my personal suggestion, this virtual thread concept is very handy, and from the developer perspective there is no any kind of drastically change required. Whatever the way you are doing the previous multi-threading concept, same you do, but they get the lots of performance benefit and your core utilization, and as per the threads whatever you want you can achieve. From this note, I would like to say thank you for watching this video.